So let's start at the beginning. She got pounced in New Hampshire. I mean, there's no way to cut it. Bernie Sanders thrashed her. I mean, in almost every single demographic, Bernie Sanders was victorious. I don't know if there's really anything else to say about it, except for that we didn't cover last night. One thing I do want to point out that we mentioned last night, and I want to just kind of mention again because it's noteworthy, right? Expectations were intentionally set low for Hillary Clinton once they realized that they were going to lose. They started playing the expectations game. And then they started building up the expectations of Bernie Sanders, saying that he has to win at least by 8 points for it to be a meaningful victory. Well, if you paid attention, he won by much more than 8 points. I believe at the end of the night, it was 21 points that Bernie Sanders won by, far exceeding any expectation. Utterly crushing Hillary Clinton. And now let's not get it wrong. That's just one state, right? There's 48 more states to go through. Not 48 more nights, but 48 more states that we need to go through. Some in which he's going to lose. The final victory was a 22%, according to John Stephen Frank in the chat room, 22% margin of victory in New Hampshire. That's insane. That is ridiculous. And there is no way to write this except for the fact that Hillary Clinton is in trouble. Now, do I think it's over for her? By far, no, not even close. Hillary Clinton still has a chance, and we're going to discuss one of her strategies to try to stay alive. Right? We touched on it a little bit last night, but I want to discuss it a little bit more. She basically sent out for the cavalry. That's what Hillary Clinton is. She called in her reinforcements, and we'll discuss that. I don't want to go into that right now, but last night it was a thrashing. John Kasich came in a strong second place. On the Republican side, Donald Trump, of course, came in number one. Notable today, Chris Christie and Carly Fiorina both dropped out of the race. It was hilarious that Chris Christie dropped out of the race after he stayed in long enough to eat Marco Rubio for lunch, right? He stayed in just long enough to destroy Marco Rubio, and then he dipped, right? He really, I wonder how long it's going to take everyone else to drop out. Ben Carson came in at like 2%. It's time for him to go. Everyone, he was the flavor of the week over the summer. That's it for him. He needs to go. Bernie Sanders won in every demographic group. This is not, he won amongst women. He won the plurality of the youth vote. Millennials, he crushed Hillary Clinton in again. This was a very strong showing, and the fact that he had more voter turnout than Donald Trump and John Kasich combined. If you want to talk about the enthusiasm and the enthusiasm gap, rather, there is not an enthusiasm gap for Bernie Sanders. It's not. People are showing up. Now, if he carries the same type of momentum, the same type of energy across the country, you are genuinely looking at what he wants to call a political revolution. I think last night people really got a taste of the reality that this revolution might actually be taking place. And I think there's a little disillusionment, right, with some people who don't expect a revolution to come in a political form. But when you consider the alternative, there's really no alternative. You're not going to have a revolution through a violent revolution in the United States of America. The only revolution that you're going to get in the United States of America is through elections. And seeing the type of turnout that Bernie Sanders had last night, speaking from a genuine left perspective, right? He's the furthest left candidate that we've seen in a very, in my lifetime. Someone who's vying to be the actual candidate for the Democratic Party in my lifetime. He's the most progressive candidate that we've ever had. And his language is that of revolution. His language is that of overturning the status quo. And he's overturning the status quo because of all of the big guns that Hillary Clinton has pulled out as a result of last night. So last night we got wind of a memo that went around. We discussed it last night, and I'll discuss it a little bit more. We got wind of a memo that Hillary Clinton's team sent around, essentially saying that, don't worry, everybody, we've got the black vote. They're scared, and they should be. They should be scared with the type of results that they got last night, and the fact that Bernie Sanders was able to give a speech from the position of not just a possible candidate, but a fierce contender. He was able to give a speech from the position of strength instead of a position of maybe he'll make it. Last night, he was able to give a speech from the position of, oh, you didn't realize we're going to do this. And that makes all of the difference. And that places fear. And last night, he raised $5 million in one 24-hour period. Bernie Sanders, when he did his fundraiser live on air last night, he raised $5 million. ActBlue shut down. He crashed the service there. They weren't even able to process all the money on Bernie Sanders' website because people really are catching wind of the potential of this revolution. Now, here's what Hillary Clinton needs black